Hi there. Thank you for joining me for another installment of the Employment Resource video series from Butler Area Public Library. Today, we are going to be talking about completing online applications and cover letters. When it's time for you to go ahead and begin applying for jobs online, you want to make sure that you come into the process fully prepared. So we're going to talk a little bit about the tools that you need to be prepared. The first of these is an email address. Most of the time, potential employers are going to need an email address where they can reach you. If you do not have one established already, you can always set one up for free on an online platform such as Hotmail or Gmail. If you need assistance with this, you can contact the reference department at the library and we would be happy to assist you. Another piece of contact information you're going to want to have on file is a phone number. Now, this could be a personal home or cell phone number where you can be reached or messages can be left. If that is not an option that you have, there is a service through Google that is free called Google Voice, where you can set up a secure phone number where messages can be left for you. You do have to log in to retrieve those messages, which is why it is a secure number. If that also is not an option for you, you may want to speak with a third party who is willing to receive phone calls on your behalf and take messages to be passed along, such as a family member or a job coach that you may be working with. The next thing you want to have is your resume. I suggest having handy both a Word document and a PDF version of your resume because you never know what the application is going to call for. But it's also handy to have a printed copy of your resume on hand as well in case you need to enter some of that information into the job application, such as educational background or previous dates of employment. You also want to have a list of references on hand. References are people that an employer will contact to get a little bit of information about their references experience with you and some of your strengths and weaknesses and what you might be able to bring to this particular position. With references, it's always important to speak with those people in advance and ask them if they're willing to be your reference. It's always best when they have prior knowledge so that they can have a statement prepared on your behalf. Once you've gotten permission from your reference to have them listed, you want to make sure that you have their full name, their current title, and the name of the organization where they work, and a small statement regarding the relationship you have to that person. So if it's a professional reference, that's probably going to be the fact that they were a coworker or a supervisor at a past job. If it is a personal reference, it may be something like the head of a volunteer organization where you have volunteered your time in the past. The last tool you're going to want to have on hand is a tracking system, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But before we get there, I would like to talk about the applications themselves. So when you're completing an online job application, there's usually one of two ways you're going to access it. The first of those is through an aggregate website like Indeed.com, where they have job listings and you can apply right there on that website. The other way is through a company website where you are interested in applying for a job. So if we take a look over here on Indeed.com, I have just done a quick search on customer service positions within 5 miles of Butler, Pennsylvania. And you can see that I located one for a licensed benefits counselor remote. And over here we get a little bit of additional information on what this job is, including this great big blue button that says apply it now. So when we click on this button, you will see that a window pops up asking us for some basic information, including our name, an email address where I can be reached, a phone number where I can be reached, and then this one suggested that I go ahead and upload a resume. So I have uploaded my resume in a Word format. You can upload additional documents as well, such as a cover letter, but it may not be necessary depending on what the job posting is. So if I am satisfied with the information that I am submitting, I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And then this is why it's so important that you have access to your email address as you are applying. This particular website has sent me a verification code to my email address that I have to be able to enter to continue on with the application process. So they sent it to me, and I'm going to go ahead and enter it in now. And it even gives me the option to allow Indeed to remember that code on this browser, which could be handy if I plan on applying for multiple jobs over the next coming days. So now that I have my code entered, I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Oh, see, it told me that my code is not valid. So I'm going to go ahead and check my email and see they sent me an updated code. So we're going to go ahead and enter it. All right, so you can see that it has now moved me along in the application process, and it's going to ask me some information about my education, any certifications that I might need for this position, and it's going to continue on through my employment information. We're not going to go through the entire employment application procedure on here. I just wanted to give you an idea of what it would look like when you are applying through a site like Indeed that has the job postings on there. The other option I mentioned is applying directly through the company's website. So this is an example of a customer service position available at Walgreens. And this is on the Walgreens website. And again, you see that it has a blue apply button. So we're going to click it. And we will see that it has redirected us to a job listing. Which then allows us to either apply within Indeed or within Facebook, or we can set up an account here within the Walgreens company page. Sometimes it can be a little taxing setting up an account at each individual employer, so it can be handy to use things like Indeed to complete the application. So now let's talk a little bit about tracking. I suggest having a system of tracking set up as you are applying for different jobs. This is just a way to follow up and keep a list of information regarding who you have applied for, what positions within that company you have applied for, the dates, any follow-up contact you have had for that position, tracking dates of interviews, making sure that you are following up with those interviews. It's just a good way of keeping all of your job search information organized. I have located a sample tracker from the Muse, and I'm going to go ahead and link that in the description of this video below so that you can have a copy of it. I suggest, it is a Google Drive document. I suggest that you make a copy of it and save it to your own Google Drive so that you can then customize it and update it however suits your needs. The last thing we're going to talk about today is your cover letter. The cover letter is something that usually accompanies your resume, but it really does need to be handled a little bit differently than your actual resume itself. The cover letter is usually the first thing a potential employer is going to see because the cover letter is often printed out and stapled on top of your resume. So you want to make sure that your cover letter is formatted much like that resume so that it looks neat and consistent. You want to make sure that it is a single page. You want to make sure that you are completing a cover letter that is uniquely targeted for each position. So what you can do is create sort of a sample or template cover letter and store that electronically, and then update it based on whatever position you are currently applying for. That way it shows that you have a level of detail for each position you are applying for to make sure that you are definitely suited for that job. When you open your cover letter, you want to use a name in the greeting if possible. This means you might have to do a little bit of research regarding that job position. You may need to find out the name of the hiring manager, or if there is a name listed within the job posting itself, that is the name that you are going to want to put into the greeting. Your cover letter is an opportunity to really show your personality. So you want to make sure that you are being creative and passionate while still remaining professional. This is an opportunity for you to really sell yourself with specific details that you can't list in your resume. So for example, if you increased sales in your previous position, you want to talk a little bit in the cover letter about how much you increased it. Did you increase it 10% year over year? Did you increase it 5%? Or any outstanding achievements you may have gotten during your previous employment experience? Did you receive any specific certifications? Did you receive any awards? It's always good to sell yourself in a way that is professional. You want to make sure that your cover letter has a strong ending. And what I mean by a strong ending is you want to leave the image in that potential employer's mind that you are expecting them to contact you. So it's always a good idea to reiterate your contact information and even add in some days of the week and times of day that is good for you to be contacted should they want to set up an interview. Finally, you want to make sure that you use a professional sign-off. So that would be something like sincerely or thank you for your time, and then your signature. Before you complete your cover letter and save it in its final form, make sure that you proofread just like your resume. Don't rely strictly on spell check. You want to make sure that you are proofreading for things like grammar as well. I hope you have found this video helpful, and I wish you the best of luck in your continued job search. Thanks, and have a great day.